This is the Spitting Cobra Mandalay. Well, there's a snake called the Spitting Cobra Mandalay. This is simply the Zorgon Peterson Mandalay. And we all know how Zorgon Peterson like to call their ships after snakes. Well, with the exception of the hauler, that is. There's definite design muse being taken from different ships here. A lot of people have said, oh, well, that wings, it looks like a ship from Star Citizen. Whereas Frontier have definitely said that the back engines do take their muse from the F6 Lightning, which was a British single-seater interceptor. And those jets at the back really were Rolls-Royce Avon turbojets that could really get that fighter moving. But there's one thing I think that we have not mentioned. Doesn't it look a little bit like the Milano fighter from Guardians of the Galaxy? Now, this ship was the main hero ship in Guardians of the Galaxy, for those of you who have seen the film, and if you look, there's definite design cues taken from that as well, I think. It would be remiss of me to say also about the Crusader as well from good old Star Citizen. Certainly an awful lot of design cues taken from there. But let's not take anything away from Frontier. This represents a complete shift in regards to ship design we've seen. Now, we all thought that the Type 8 was a radical change of direction. Very functional. Looked like that claw on that machine, the load lifter from Aliens. But this, however, it's every piece of Starship to take Elite Dangerous into the next decade. What are you thinking? Well, I'm thinking this is more than likely going to be the on-point Explorer that we've got. Now, as Frontier turned around and said, they said, well, you know, we did a combat ship with the Python Mark II, and we did a hauler with the Type 8, so let's give something to the Explorers, and this is what we've come up with, the Mandalay. And that's pretty cool. I think it represents a completely different design shift in the way ships are being designed in-game. And that's good for us because it's going to be more visually appealing for those of us who get to experience one. And what do I mean by that? Well, they're obviously going to be everywhere. Look how popular the Python and the Type 8 have been, given their radical changes. With the Python, it was the first new ship in Elite Dangerous for absolute ages, and that's what it had going for it, and now it's also in-game. The Type 8, completely different looking. People needed it, they wanted it, they desired it. This has got that same sort of desire factor, in my honest opinion. And, of course, like they state, it's going to be really well tuned for SCO, even more so than the Type 8 and the Python Mark II. And that it'll give the jumper condors a little bit of competition when it comes to jump range. All this is great for when you want to get from A to B and you're hopping around the bubble. Now, the flight model, they state, and a lot of people picked up on this, especially during the broadcast, that, and I quote, they said, it's going to have a really nice flight model for in-atmo flight. But that also means it's going to be really maneuverable in space too. Could the new feature be full atmospheric planets? Ooh, are we going to see more diverse planets? Are we going to see trees and what have you? Who knows? Who knows? But they've angled the landing ramp here so that wherever you're looking, you come down the ramp and that's what you're going to see, which is great. No one likes coming out of the back of their ship. Also, there's the takeoff thrusters, the VTOL takeoff and landing thrusters. As you can see in the picture here, as you land, they'll tilt down. Unfortunately, that's only good for someone watching you land. You're not going to be able to see it land unless you're outside and you call your ship in. So that's going to be a spectacular thing to see when you recall your ship on a planet surface. That really is going to be something. For me, it's the back of the ship that really does look interesting. You've got that nice configuration of engines. You got the VTOL thrusters for your vertical takeoff and also maneuverability. But one thing that hasn't really been mentioned that much is it looks great from the top, great from the back, but from the bottom, that sort of bulbous, sort of like hull section of things, it's really weird. You know, it really is weird. It really is. The top of the ship looks absolutely fantastic, but when you think about it, it does look like the neck of a snake and the head of a snake on the front of the ship. I think it's a fantastic looking design, and as they said, it is going to cast a very nice silhouette. Really can't wait till October either. Now, as we know, it's currently in development in-game with Zorgon Peterson, and it's a medium ship, and it's going to be totally optimized for SCO. So, all good stuff. People have been saying, well, where the cockpit is, I can't really go doing my exobiology and having a look for planets and all the rest of it. We're just going to have to wait and see how that really goes. But exploration is not just exobiology. That's one thing I think is probably worthwhile actually mentioning here. A lot of commanders that I have prompted and done a canvas for really on my channel have turned around and said, yep, definitely going to be picking this up when it arrives in October. You know, it's a beautiful looking ship to be in the game. Everyone's still got that lovely affinity with the Jumperconda, the Anaconda, and this could be really replacing it. You know, other people have been saying, well, there's a few buts, you know, especially the lower part of the ship, like we mentioned. They don't think it fits with the rest of the design of the ship. Everyone's very excited, but like, you know, I mean, that's a little bit weird. You know, again, people are saying it looks pregnant from below. It's strange, isn't it? So I think a lot of people are actually going to pay for this, arcs-wise. I think there's going to be some people where it's going to be a challenge, and that's just the way things are. But, you know, I think people, if they want it, they're going to get this early access, and that's going to be really good. Now, this is ship 3 of 4. We've still got another ship to come, according to Frontier's kind of roadmap that they alluded to in January when Frontier Unlocked first started. Plus, there's also the new feature. And what's that going to be? Well, is it going to be on-foot Thargoids? We don't know. Is it going to be base building? We don't know. Is it going to be full atmospheric planets? We don't know, and they're not telling us. And it's going to have to be something fantastic if they've strung us along all year. But what will the next ship be? Is it going to be the fabled Panther Clipper? Because to be perfectly honest, nobody saw this Mandalay coming, did they? Anyway, I've been Ricardo. Thanks very much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about the Mandalay. It'd be really interesting to see what people are saying about it. And I wonder what it's going to look like, you know, outside of the artist concepts. Anyway, thanks for watching once again. See you soon.